No one expected the night to unfold this way. An event that usually showcases the royal family at full strength instead opened with a quiet shock. Kate Middleton, the Princess of Wales, was nowhere in sight. The Windsor Castle diplomatic reception is one of the monarchy's most polished displays, the kind of glittering evening that draws international eyes. But this year, something felt different. William, King Charles, and Queen Camilla walked in together, smiling for the cameras, while the figure everyone hoped to see was conspicuously absent. And for many watching, the question wasn't just where Kate was, it was why she missed one of the most important nights on the royal calendar. Every year, the diplomatic reception is more than a party. It's a symbolic moment, a reminder that the British, if you love real, respectful royal updates, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to UK Celebooze. Your support keeps these stories coming. Crown still carries global weight, still draws ambassadors, dignitaries, and power players from every corner of the world. But this year's reception carried an extra layer of historic significance. It wasn't happening at Buckingham Palace, a location so traditional it practically defines the modern monarchy, but at Windsor Castle instead. The last time Windsor hosted this event was in 2001, more than 2 decades ago. The move alone gave the evening a sense of rarity and spectacle, making Kate's absence feel even more notable. When the setting changes, when a tradition is revived after 24 years, people expect the whole royal lineup to shine. But that's not what the world got. For many royal watchers, memories of Kate's past appearances at the diplomatic reception came flooding back. She has always been a standout figure, a modern royal who brings glamour without excess, presence without theatricality. Her 2023 appearance still circulates across social media, the blush pink Jenny Packham gown shimmering under palace chandeliers. Paired with the lover's knot tiara that once belonged to Princess Diana, it was a look that signaled continuity. Elegance. If you love real, respectful royal updates, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to UK Celebooze. Your support keeps these stories coming. And a royal future that felt stable. But what made this year's absence more layered was the reminder that Kate didn't attend the reception in 2020 for either. That year was marked by her reduced schedule, the announcement of her treatment, and a long period of near total privacy. So when she returned to the spotlight in 2025, many assumed the tradition would resume, that Kate would reclaim her place at the reception as she always had. But the decision to skip the reception wasn't a quiet disappearance. Earlier that same day, she made a public appearance at the Future Workforce Summit in London, tied to her early childhood mission, an initiative she's nurtured for years. It was a meaningful moment for her, not only because the project matters to her deeply, but because she delivered her first speech in 2 years. That kind of milestone carries emotional weight. Her voice, steady but thoughtful. Her presence, calm but unmistakably strong. Observers noticed the rings she wore, pieces loaded with personal symbolism, especially after everything she's endured. Fans praised her bravery, her poise, her dedication. Yet the contrast between a highly visible daytime event and a skipped evening gala didn't go unnoticed. People couldn't ignore the timeline. Her treatment, her remission announcement, her quiet re-entry into public life. Kate has always been known for balancing duty with restraint, but after her diagnosis and the months of recovery, every appearance and every absence has taken on new meaning. She's in remission, yes, but remission doesn't erase the physical toll. It doesn't erase the need to pace herself. It doesn't erase the watch. If you love real, respectful royal updates, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to UK Celebooze. Your support keeps these stories coming. Watchful eyes of the royal advisors who manage schedules with long-term strategy in mind. And while the palace hasn't shared any concerns, the public has learned not to assume anything when it comes to Kate's health. That uncertainty fuels curiosity, and curiosity keeps conversations alive. But the timing of her absence sparked even more speculation. The diplomatic reception took place the night before the Royal Variety performance, an event she and Prince William are confirmed to attend. This created a natural split in public opinion. Some believe she was conserving her energy for a more visible, more widely broadcast event. Others think it was a calculated decision by palace advisors who want her return to be slow, controlled, and media balanced. A few wonder whether she's choosing engagements that feel personally meaningful rather than ceremonial. And some, of course, suspect there's more happening behind the scenes than the palace is letting on. Whenever Kate changes her pattern, the world pays attention. Her absence also created a very particular image: Prince William standing beside King Charles and Queen Camilla without her. The three formed a stable, united front, but a noticeably incomplete one. William's solo appearance reinforced just how central Kate has become to the public's perception of the modern monarchy. Without her, the lineup feels different. The energy shifts, the dynamics change, and viewers pick up on that instantly. Moments like these shape narratives, sometimes intentionally, sometimes not. The Windsor Castle setting added yet another layer to the evening's significance. A location with centuries of royal history, a backdrop that carries its own presence. Hosting the diplomatic reception there for the first time in 24 years gave the night a sense of revival. And in a setting so symbolic, the absence of a key figure becomes even more striking. This wasn't just a missed event, it was a missed moment, one that will now be remembered as the year Kate should have been there, but wasn't. If you love real, respectful royal updates, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to UK Celebooz. Your support keeps these stories coming. Online reaction hit immediately. Social media lit up with speculation, theories, concern, and curiosity. Some praised her decision to prioritize meaningful work earlier in the day. Others wondered whether her health required a slower pace. A handful speculated about internal royal dynamics, the kind of rumors that float around whenever the family's public lineup changes. With the royal variety performance right around the corner, fans were watching closely, waiting to see how she would look, how she would carry herself, and what the palace's underlying strategy might be. But as the evening ended, one thing became clear: Kate's absence wasn't just a scheduling choice. It created ripples across royal watchers, sparked fresh questions, and reshaped expectations for her appearance the following night. Her return to public life is unfolding carefully, and every step she takes is being interpreted through a lens of symbolism, strategy, and quiet intrigue. The day of the reception wasn't just another date on the royal calendar. It marked a rare overlap of responsibility, symbolism, and scrutiny. Kate's daytime appearance had been powerful, but it also raised a subtle question. Was that moment deliberately chosen to replace the evening event? Or was it simply all she could manage in a single day? Her speech earlier carried emotional weight, a sense of vulnerability wrapped in purpose. It was her first address in 2 years, spoken with quiet conviction and delivered through a lens of recovery and resilience. People who have followed her journey could sense the deeper meaning behind her words. She was stepping back into the world, but not all at once. Her early childhood initiative has always been her passion project. Long before her diagnosis, long before the public knew how much her health would shift her life. For her to reappear at a summit dedicated to shaping the future of children and families wasn't just a professional move, it was personal. And sometimes, when something matters deeply, you choose that moment over another, even if the other is more glamorous. But that choice, whether strategic or emotional, placed a spotlight on something the palace rarely speaks about openly: the limits of a royal's physical and emotional capacity. And in Kate's case, those limits have been under a microscope. Ever since her announcement in March 2024, the tone around her public life changed. People weren't just watching her engagements, they were watching her. How she walked, how she stood, how long she spoke. Her absence from the diplomatic reception tapped into that ongoing sensitivity. No matter how much she's recovered, no matter how strong she appears, the world hasn't forgotten what she went through. That silent awareness shaped the evening more than any dress or tiara ever could. But there was another angle people quietly. If you love real, respectful royal updates, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to UK Celebooz. Your support keeps these stories coming. He whispered about the royal strategy behind her appearances. The palace has always been skilled at crafting narratives, and Kate is at the center of many of them. When she appears, it signals stability. When she steps back, it creates curiosity. When she speaks, it becomes global news. And when she disappears from a major event, that absence feels intentional, whether or not it actually is. Some royal commentators suggested suggested the palace may be spacing out her engagements on purpose, allowing each one to carry weight rather than overwhelming her calendar with back-to-back duties. Others wondered if the palace was balancing public expectation against personal well-being, and a few more cynical voices hinted at internal politics, the kind that never reach the public in full, but always leave shadowed. As the reception unfolded without her, another dynamic became clear. The royal trio of Charles, Camilla, and William presented an image of unity, but one that didn't feel complete. William, in particular, appeared composed but focused, fulfilling his role with precision. Yet for anyone watching closely, his presence without Kate altered the visual rhythm of the night. Kate has been a stabilizing force for William, a partner whose presence balances the formality of royal duties with warmth. Without her, the evening had a formality that felt sharper, almost colder. And people noticed. In royal life, imagery matters just as much as words. A photo of William beside his father and stepmother might seem routine, but in a year filled with transitions, health updates, and shifting schedules, the optics felt heavier. The monarchy has always relied on its golden couple, William and Kate, to carry a large portion of its global appeal. Removing one half of that equation, even briefly, reshapes the tone of the entire event. And while the palace released no comments, social media didn't hold back. Some users speculated that Kate was simply exhausted after her earlier engagement. Others wondered if the palace wanted to highlight Charles and Camilla more prominently that night. And a few suggested that the Windsor setting may have required a more condensed lineup for logistical reasons. But no matter the theory, everyone agreed on one thing: it was unusual. The setting at Windsor Castle also changed the energy. Buckingham Palace, despite its grandeur, has become a... If you love real, respectful royal updates, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to UK Celeboo's. Your support keeps these stories coming. Familiar backdrop for royal events. Windsor, however, carries a different kind of weight. Older, quieter, more steeped in tradition. Hosting the reception there for the first time since 2001 made the night feel like an echo of a past era, almost like a reset. And whenever the monarchy revisits an older tradition, viewers expect the full royal cast. Without Kate, the moment felt incomplete, almost as if one thread in the tapestry had been left out. The reception, with its diplomats, ambassadors, and international guests, is designed to project confidence and continuity. When a senior royal is missing, even for valid reasons, that projection shifts slightly, and the press, well aware of how closely the world watches Kate's schedule, amplified the significance of her absence without needing to say much at all. It became the headline before the event even ended. Meanwhile, in online spaces, TikTok, X, Reddit, theories spread faster than the official photos. Some fans pointed out how tired she seemed in recent months. Others reminded the internet that healing isn't linear, that remission doesn't erase the long-term effects of treatment. Supporters shared screenshots of her speech from earlier that day, praising how heartfelt she looked. Critics questioned why she didn't rest earlier and attend the evening event instead. And then there were those who simply believed she was choosing substance over ceremony, focusing on work that felt genuinely meaningful rather than a reception designed more for diplomacy than direct impact. But as the hours passed and more images from the reception surfaced, one thing became impossible to ignore. Kate's absence was the most talked about part of the entire evening. Not the gowns, not the tiara, not the return to Windsor. It was the missing piece that overshadowed everything else. And with the royal variety performance scheduled for the very next night, her absence created a new layer of pressure, not from the palace, but from public anticipation. Everyone began waiting for the next appearance, wondering how she would look, how she would carry herself, and whether her return to the spotlight. If you love real, respectful royal updates, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to UK Celeboo's. Your support keeps these stories coming. Would feel like a continuation or a contrast to the night she quietly skipped. Because while the reception ended, the questions it sparked were just beginning. But the real shock wasn't who walked into Windsor Castle tonight. It was who didn't. For years, the diplomatic reception has been one of the most photographed events on the royal calendar. The gowns, the tiara, stars the glittering room filled with ambassadors from around the world. It's the event where the Princess of Wales traditionally makes one of her most iconic appearances of the year. Yet tonight, her absence echoed louder than crystal chandeliers. Whispers started the moment the official photographs were released. King Charles, present. Queen Camilla, present. Prince William, present. Princess Kate, nowhere in sight. Some insiders insist there is no drama, pointing out that she did appear earlier in the day for her early childhood summit, delivering her first speech in 2 years. An emotional return after stepping back from royal duties during her cancer treatment. But others, including royal watchers online, are asking the question Buckingham Palace has not addressed. Why would Kate attend a major daytime event, yet completely miss the biggest evening gala of the winter, especially one she last attended before her diagnosis? Especially when the palace highlighted the attendance of Charles, Camilla, and William? Some see this as a sign that Kate may still be pacing her royal workload cautiously. Others think there is more to the story, perhaps exhaustion, medical advice, or simply emotional timing. But one thing is clear, whenever Kate Middleton is missing from a royal event, the entire world notices. And tonight, the silence surrounding her absence has created more questions than answers. Within minutes of the official photos dropping, social media exploded, not with praise for the glittering royal lineup, not with excitement about Windsor Castle hosting the reception for the first time in. If you love real, respectful royal updates, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to UK Celeboost. Your support keeps these stories coming. 24 years. But with one question flooding every comment section, where is Kate? On X, hashtags erupted, hashtag Princess Kate, hashtag royal family, and even hashtag Kate Middleton missing, trending within the hour. Royal watchers pointed out that Prince William walked into the reception looking composed, but noticeably more serious than usual. Some noted he glanced back only once, almost as if expecting someone to join him. Meanwhile, others zoomed in on Queen Camilla's expression, insisting she looked unusually tense during the photo call. Whether that was coincidence or pressure from hosting such a massive international event, only insiders know. But the public reaction? Absolutely overwhelming. Supporters of Kate filled social media with love and protectiveness. She's still recovering. Let her heal. She showed up earlier today. That's enough. We just want her healthy and safe. Critics, however, questioned why the palace didn't clarify her absence more clearly, especially after her earlier appearance made many assume she would attend both events. And behind palace walls, some insiders say the royal household was not expecting this level of speculation. The narrative was supposed to be simple. Kate had a major engagement earlier in the day. The reception was optional. But when it comes to the Princess of Wales, nothing is ever simple in the public eye. Her absence didn't just overshadow the reception, it became the story. And now, with the royal variety performance scheduled for the next day, the pressure grows. Will Kate appear? Will she walk the red carpet beside William? Or will another absence ignite an even bigger firestorm? Because one thing is certain right now, Kate Middleton's presence or absence controls the entire royal conversation. The day after the diplomatic reception, all eyes turned to the royal variety performance, one of the most anticipated events of the year. For Kate Middleton, this wasn't just another evening. It was a chance to reclaim the spotlight after a night of widespread speculation about her absence. Fans, royal watchers, and media outlets alike were watching closely. Every detail, her entrance, her gown, her demeanor, would be analyzed within seconds of her appearing on the red carpet. Speculation ran wild online. Some predicted she would appear bold and radiant, signaling her full return to royal duties. Others wondered whether she might adopt a quieter, more understated presence, focusing on the charitable and symbolic aspects of the evening rather than media optics. And, of course, a few cynics suggested that even if she showed up, the narrative of her absence the night before would dominate headlines regardless of her actual appearance. Meanwhile, Prince William carried a different sort of pressure. He was now in the spotlight as the consistent figure of stability, walking into the diplomatic reception solo the night before. Royal commentators noted that while he appeared composed and confident, he was subtly adjusting to the absence of his partner. William has always relied on Kate's presence to balance his own energy in public settings. Without her, every move, every smile, every handshake was under heightened scrutiny. The palace, as as usual, remained tight-lipped. Insiders say that communications teams were monitoring social media in real time, ready to respond to any emerging narrative. Their goal? Ensure that Kate's appearance at the variety performance would dominate attention in a positive light, reframing the story from absence to comeback. It's a delicate balancing act, one that requires precise timing, flawless optics, and the subtle choreography of royal appearances. Fans speculated endlessly about what Kate might wear, what tiara, if any, she would choose, and how she would interact with her husband and the rest of the royal family. These details, though seemingly minor, carry enormous symbolic weight. A carefully chosen accessory or gesture can signal confidence, continuity, or even reconciliation with past challenges. And in Kate's case, every choice is magnified by years of public interest, personal struggle, and global scrutiny. At the same time, Palace insiders, if you love real, respectful royal updates, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to UK Celebooz. Your support keeps these stories coming. Hinted at a larger strategy behind Kate's schedule. Some suggest that spacing out major public appearances, daytime engagements, speeches, and high-profile evening events allows her to rebuild her public image gradually. It also allows the world to focus on her strength and resilience rather than framing her story around absence or limitation. This careful pacing is part of what makes her return so compelling. It's not just about showing up, it's about crafting a narrative of triumph, grace, and control over her public story. But as speculation mounted, the underlying tension remained. The world was watching Kate more closely than ever. Her previous absence had amplified expectations. Every step on the red carpet, every word spoken, every smile shared would be dissected and debated. In the court of public opinion, absence had created curiosity, and curiosity had created pressure. Ultimately, the night would serve as a defining moment, not just for Kate, but for the public perception of the modern monarchy. Her actions, her choices, and even her presence would be read as signs of her ongoing recovery, her personal priorities, and her role in shaping the future of the royal family. The royal variety performance wasn't just a show. It was a narrative stage where every gesture mattered and every decision told a story. The royal variety performance came and went, and Kate Middleton's appearance lived up to the hype. She arrived gracefully, radiant, and composed. Every step carefully measured yet effortlessly elegant. Cameras captured the subtle gestures, a reassuring glance at Prince William, an exchange with performers, a brief but meaningful smile to the audience. For many, it was a triumphant moment. The Princess of Wales had returned, not merely as a figure of public fascination, but as a symbol of resilience and purpose. The absence from the previous night now felt intentional, a strategic pause that made her reemergence even more powerful. Media outlets immediately began framing the narrative. Headlines focused on her glorious return and the emotional weight of her speech at the summit earlier that day. Analysts pointed out that her schedule, balancing daytime charitable engagements with high-profile evening appearances, showcased a deliberate, thoughtful approach to her public life. No longer just a glamorous royal, she was now a figure whose presence carried meaning, impact, and a message of perseverance. Public reaction mirrored this narrative. Social media buzzed with admiration and support, trending hashtags celebrating her courage and style. Fans emphasized the personal victories behind her appearances, overcoming health challenges, delivering her first speech in years, and returning to major events with poise. Even critics, who had speculated endlessly about her absence from the Windsor reception, acknowledged the meticulous way she managed the balance between duty and self-care. Meanwhile, Prince William's role became more apparent. As he stood beside her during the performance, observers noted the dynamic that had been missing the night before, the complementary energy between them, a partnership both public and symbolic. Without the scrutiny of absence looming over him, William appeared confident, reinforcing the narrative of a royal couple gradually reclaiming their rhythm in public life. Together, they projected strength, stability, and forward-looking optimism, exactly what the monarchy needed to showcase in a year marked by transitions and historical milestones. For royal insiders, matters. The entire sequence of events, from the daytime speech to the skipped reception to the spectacular variety performance, was part of a carefully orchestrated strategy. Kate's absence wasn't a misstep or a lapse. It was a narrative device, a way to make her return resonate with both the public and the media. By pacing her engagements, highlighting meaningful work, and controlling the optics of each appearance, the palace allowed her story to unfold with intentional suspense and impact. And yet, questions remain. Will Kate maintain this careful balance in the months ahead? Will her appearances continue to alternate between high-profile events and purposeful, private engagements? How will the public and the media interpret every choice, every absence, every smile? These uncertainties ensure that interest in her life, her health, and her role in the royal family will remain high. Every event, every gesture, and every decision is now magnified under the global spotlight. In the end, Kate Middleton's absence from the Windsor diplomatic reception became more than just a skipped event. It became a story about strategy, resilience, and narrative control. It reminded the world that a royal's public life is carefully curated, every step significant, and every moment of discretion just as.